Hi everyone, my name is Rony Gao. In this video, I want to share with you 3 quick tips so you can teach more effectively online. Whether you are a school teacher, a university professor, or someone who has to do any type of teaching or training, you've probably already done quite a bit of remote teaching in this past year. And today I want to show you 3 quick tips that I hope will give your students and also yourself a better experience in a virtual classroom. These are going to be generic tips that can be applied to pretty much every platform out there that you use for teaching. The first one is you absolutely need a headset. I am using one right now, and I can show you the difference. This is how I sound if I didn't use a headset. My sound is coming to you right now through that internal microphone on my laptop, which kind of still works. At least a lot of people think so. But the thing is, if your students have to live with this sound quality for an hour or 2 hours, it's going to consume a lot of their brain power just trying to hear what it is that you are saying. Now, back to my headset. Can you feel the difference? You can hear the difference, right? So use a headset. It's a no-brainer. And it doesn't cost a lot of money at all. For example, the one that I'm using right now is a Sennheiser, which usually costs around 50 bucks, sometimes even less. And it's a really good investment, not just to help you sound better, but also help your students learn better. I would say bad sound quality, bad audio is the #1 reason why people feel so tired after sitting through a lecture online. But the good news is that there is an easy fix for that problem. Just get a headset. Now, a lot of people assume that you have to be listening through that headset yourself, and that is not the case. Here, I'm going to recommend separating your microphone from your speaker settings. For example, I prefer to have my USB headset transmit what I'm saying. So here, Sennheiser USB headset, that's my microphone. But I prefer to listen to others through this external speaker, in my case, the MacBook Pro speaker. When my students talk, the sound comes to me through the air, and it's less taxing for my own ears. I'm just taking the Zoom interface as an example, but this configuration can be done on pretty much every online platform nowadays. And doing so will give your own ears a much easier time if you teach long hours online. The second tip I'm going to share has to do with time management during a class break, which can be tricky when teaching online because your students may be dispersed across different time zones. And that's definitely the case in my experience. And to indicate a specific time requires you doing the math, converting time differences. And it's always kind of hard to communicate that clearly. And also when you say, for example, students come back in 10 minutes, you never know whether they heard it or when the 10 minutes is up, you don't know if they are already back at their computers. And sometimes that's why you can't get the class to resume as scheduled. And here's my solution to the problem. When it's time for a class break, what I do is I put up a timer on my screen. I don't even need to open any software. I just do this. See, I Google 10-minute timer and starts. I keep this screen shared. This will be on my screen during the class break. I can turn off my camera, I can turn off my microphone and do my things, but this timer is still on everyone's screen. They can see it from across a room, right? Which makes it super clear exactly when the break is over and when everyone is expected to come back to their computer and resume class. Now, many teachers record their classes, but if you pause the recording during class break, you may forget to restart the recording when your break is over. And that that is not good. I'm sure many of you have learned the lesson the hard way. So my suggestion is you should not pause the recording during the class break. Just have the timer, the countdown timer recorded. It's no big deal. When students view the recording, the timer also makes it super easy for them to locate the point in the video where the class restarts. So that means one less thing for you to worry about. Now, moving on to my third and last tip. Oops. So usually I do this towards the end of my session. I use the chat function and ask students to share one or two things that they find the most useful from this class, the key takeaways that really struck a chord with them. And if you think about it, this is actually hard to do when we teach in a physical classroom. But when it's a virtual classroom, the chat box really gives us a quick and efficient way to do so. And in my opinion, this is one way in which online classes are actually better than offline classes, because everyone will get a chance to reflect a little bit on what exactly they have learned that's useful to them. And within seconds, the chat box will be quickly filled with some of the highlights from your teaching. And I'm sure it's useful for students to see some of the key ideas, flash through their screen and their mind one more time before you wrap up a class. Sometimes it also gives you, the teacher, a sense of what points have really struck a chord with your students. So I do that all the time, and I think this is a wonderful way to wrap up a class quickly and efficiently. So those are the 3 quick tips from me. Again, use a headset, but separate your speaker from the microphone. Put up a timer for your breaks, and also gather feedback via the chat before you wrap up a class. Thank you for watching my video. Happy teaching.